So let's go through these first 6 problems on orders of operation. And so because it's an order of operation problem, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write down our order of operations right here so I can refer to it. So G for grouping, E for exponents, M for multiplication, and D on the same line for division. These two are equal. And then A for addition, S for subtraction. GEMDAS. Okay, let's look at this first problem. Do I have any grouping? I look at this first problem, and the answer is, yeah, right here. 5 times 4 is in parentheses. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. So I'm just going to bring down the 6, and 5 plus 4 is, of course, 9. Okay, now, do I have any more grouping? No. Do I have any exponents? No. Do I have any multiplication and division? Yes, I do, because in algebra, if I have two numbers that are just next to each other or with the parentheses around them, then I multiply them. So 6 times 9 is 54. And there's my final answer, using my GEMDAS, using my order of operations. Let's take a look at number 2. Do I have any grouping? Yes, right here I've got a parentheses, so I'm going to do that first. 4 divided by 2, that's 2. And I'm just going to bring down the rest. Okay, any more grouping? No, I have this thing in parentheses, but it's just a number. That 2 is, so it doesn't really count as grouping. Do I have any exponents? Yes, right here. That cube, that 3, is an exponent. We call it 2 cubed or 2 to the 3rd power. That's an exponent. So what that means is 2 to the 3rd power means it's 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 equals 8. So our final answer is going to be 8. Let's take a look at number 3. Do I have any grouping? Okay, well, I've got this is parentheses here and this is parentheses here, but you'll notice those are just negative numbers. And the reason why we do that is because if you look at this thing right here, I've got negative, negative 2. And we put negative numbers in parentheses sometimes because it makes it easier for us, because if we were doing this and we were like writing it the first time, it was just negative, negative 2, and then I had to write it again, it was negative, negative 2, and then I do it the third time, it just becomes negative 2, and I've now messed up because I didn't have this thing separated. So if I had it separated like this, then I would see that, oh, it's actually minus negative 2. Okay, so that's why we use those parentheses, but this isn't really grouping. I can't really do anything with negative 2. I can't do anything with negative 8. I can't do anything with that negative 9. I can't do anything with that negative 8. So they don't really count as grouping, even though they are parentheses. Okay, so does this one have any grouping? No. Does it have any exponents? I look at it. No, it does not. Does it have any multiplication? Yes, it actually has multiple multiplications, this one here and this one here. And so what we do is we read it like a book from left to right. Just like a book, we start on the left and keep going. So this one has 2 times 8. 2 times 8 would be 16. Okay, I'm going to bring the rest down. 16 times 5 plus negative 8 minus negative 2. Okay, do it again. Do I have any multiplication and division? Yes, I do, right here. 16 times 5 is 80. 80 plus negative 8 minus negative 2. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and get rid of all these parentheses because they can get confusing. And so I'm just going to call this one 80 plus a negative 8 is the same thing as just minus 8. And then minus negative 2 minus a negative turns into a positive, plus 2. So I'm going to take that, just rewrite it up here. So I've got 80 minus 8 plus 2. And again, I'm just going to, these are all, do I have any multiplication and division? No. You can't see? Okay, then why don't you get closer? Okay, so if I've got 80 minus 2 plus 8, I am just going to again go from left to right because these are all the same level here. This is addition and subtraction. So 80 minus 8 is 72 plus 2. 72 plus 2 is 74. Okay, let's take a look at number 4. Do I have any grouping? Well, again, I have this -9, -2, but those are just negative numbers in parentheses, so no grouping. Do I have any exponents? I do, right here. That's an exponent, so I'm going to do that one first. So I'm going to bring everything else down. 1 plus -2 squared. That just means -2 times -2 twice. -2 times -2, well, a negative times a negative is a positive, and 2 times 2 is 4. So it's 1 plus 4 plus 8 minus -9. Now I'm going to get rid of this parenthesis thing, so just 1 plus 4 plus 8 minus a negative turns into plus 9. So now, once again, I just go from left to right. So 1 plus 4 is 5, 5 plus 8 plus 9. Bring that up here. 5 plus 8 is just 13. 13 plus 9. 13 plus 9 equals 22. So my final answer is 22. All right. Problem number 5. This thing right here, this line, is division. Doesn't have to be a division sign like this one up here. It can be, this line right here stands for division. Let's just do a quick one to show you. 1 over 2, 1/2, is the same thing as 1 divided by 2, or 1 divided by 2. If I do 1 divided by 2, we'll put this decimal out here. 2 goes into 10 5 times. Come down, I got nothing left over. 0.5, 0.5 is 1/2. Yeah, it is division. 1 divided by 2. Okay? So that line right there is division. And so when I go through my GEMDAS, do I have any groupings? No. Do I have any exponents? No. Do I have any division or multiplication? Yes, I do, right here. So that's the first thing to do. The problem is I'm dividing 7 by all of this stuff down here, and I don't know what this is yet. So it's almost like I'm going to take this and put this in a grouping symbol. I have to do the stuff down here first before I can do my division, even though all the stuff down here is addition and subtraction, which is below multiplication and division in my GEMDAS. So again, it's almost like there's an invisible set of brackets or parentheses here telling me I need to do this first, then I can do the division. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of this parentheses. So I've got -7 over 8 plus a negative becomes a negative, or negative minus 8 plus 6 minus 7. Okay, so now I'm going to continue on. -7 over 8 minus 8 is just 0, so that just goes away. That goes away, so I've got 6 minus 7. So that becomes -7 over 6 minus 7 would just be -1. Now what is 7 over -1? 7 divided by -1, it just turns into -7. So I'm going to have that is equal to -7. And then a negative of a negative is a positive. So this all turns into, when I'm all done, just regular old 7. All right, our final problem is here. And once again, I've got this division symbol here. And we're going to start with, do I have any grouping symbols? And the answer is yes, I do, right here. Goodness, I lost my brain. What is that called? Those are called absolute value. The absolute value is a grouping. So I'm going to do that first. So, -2 times -9 times 2 over the absolute value of -2 is 2. Okay, now, do I have any more grouping? No. Do I have any grouping? No. Do I have any exponents? No. Do I have any multiplication division? Yes, that's what we're going to do next. So I'm going to do this part up here. I'm going to, again, pretend like this has a grouping symbol on it because I have to do that first before I can do my division. So I'm going to call this negative 2 times negative 9 times 2 is 18. 18 over 2. So now I can say that this is negative 2 times 18 over 2 is 9. So it's negative 2 times negative 9. And negative 2 times negative 9, a negative times a negative would be a positive, and 2 times 9 would be 18. So let's take a look at problem number 7. Once again, the first thing I want to do, because we are doing order of operation problems, is again, I'm going to write down G for grouping, E for exponents, MD for multiplication and division, and AS for addition and subtraction, so I know what order to go in here. So, starting here, do I have any grouping? And the answer is yeah, I do. Right here, this is grouping. Those are grouping symbols, the absolute value symbols. So, I'm going to say, okay, the answer is that this is 5 minus 2 minus 7 is negative 5 times 9. Now I'm going to find the value of what's actually in those grouping symbols. The absolute value of negative 5, absolute value just turns anything positive, so it's 5 plus, I'm sorry, whoops, no it's not, it's 5 minus 5 times 9. Okay, so we've gone through and done grouping. Is there anything else that we need to do here? Okay, how about exponents? Exponents? Nope, don't have any. How about multiplication and division? I sure do, right here. That's multiplication, so I'll do that next. So that's going to be, I'll do it down here, 5 minus 45. 5 times 9. Okay? Any more multiplication, division? Nope. Left with just addition and subtraction. So 5 minus 45 is equal to negative 40. All right. Let's take a look at number 8. Do I have any grouping symbols? Yeah, I do. In fact, I have two sets of grouping symbols. Right here, these parentheses, and right here, this absolute value. So I'm going to do I'll do them both. So 4 plus 11, I'm sorry, 4 plus 7 is just 11. And in this one, the absolute value of 7 minus negative 2. So that would be the same thing as 7 minus a negative 2. Minus a negative becomes a positive, 7 plus 2. So that would be, bring down the 11. 7 plus 2, the absolute value of 7 plus 2 is the absolute value of 9. So that would just be 11 times 9. And again, in algebra, when we have two things next to each other without a symbol, just the parentheses, we multiply. So 11 times 9 equals 99. So sorry, once we did our grouping symbols, the only thing we had left was a multiplication. Okay. For number 10, it's just like all the other previous ones we did, except we have some variables in there, but it tells us those variables are. M is going to be equal to negative 2, and N is going to be equal to 8, and P is going to be equal to negative 10. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write this equation again, just putting in those symbols, or just putting in those values. So N we said was 8, so it's going to be 8 divided by 4. P is negative 10. So I'm just going to put in negative 10 minus M is going to be negative 2. Negative 2 minus 3. Boom. Okay, so all I've done is I've just rewritten the equation, this equation that's right here, except every time I had an N, I put in an 8. You can see that that's in blue. Every time I saw a P, I put in a negative 10. You can see that's in pink. And every time there was an m, I just put it in red, and I put in -2. You can see that's in red. So now it's just like a regular problem. So we go through, we say, are there any grouping symbols? And the answer is yes, we have a grouping symbol here, and then one here. We have a grouping symbol inside of another grouping symbol. And when you do that, you work your way, you go from the inside out. So the first thing I'm going to do is this piece here. So I'm just going to say that this is 8 divided by 4 times -10 minus, and now I can do my absolute value. -2 minus 3 is just going to be -5. So this is 8 divided by 4, -10 minus, the absolute value of -5 is just 5. And so this is 8 divided by 4, -10 minus 5 is -15. Okay, so we've now done all of our grouping. Do we have any exponents? Nope. Do we have any multiplication and division? Yes, we do. And so we have multiple ones. So once again, we're going to go from left to right, just like we read a book. So I'll put it up here again. 8 divided by 4 times -15. Okay, so 8 divided by 4, I do this one first. That would be 2 times -15. And what is 2 times -15? That would be equal to -30. And this one here is a really good one to look at why it's important to go left to right. Okay? Because if I did this same thing over here, 8 divided by 4 times -15, okay, and I just do GEMDAS, I just look at this, and I say, okay, well, I've got division here, and I've got multiplication here. They're on the same line. I'm going to do this one first. Then I would have 8 divided by -60. And what's that going to get me? 430 is 250. So that would get me -2/15 as an answer. That's obviously very different from this, and this is wrong. We don't do it this way because we go from left to right. So our order of operations is we do grouping first, then exponents, then multiplication, division, then addition and subtraction. And if we ever have multiple on the same level, then we just read from left to right like we're reading a book. And this is a good example of that one because, again, if we did it backwards, we would have ended up with an answer that's way wrong because our real answer should be -30. And these are problems that are order of operations. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write down my symbols here so I know I do grouping first, then exponents, then multiplication and division, and finally addition and subtraction. Okay. For this first problem, it has some variables in it. A is -2 and B is -10. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write down the equation, but just every time I see an A, I'm going to write down -2. And this particular one is going to be -2 squared plus another -2. And because it's negative, I'm going to put it in parentheses just so I don't get confused, minus the absolute value of -4 minus b. And again, I'll put it in parentheses so I don't get confused. Don't want to lose a minus, so I do the minus minus. And so minus -10. So first step is easy. I'm just writing down exactly what I have right here, just writing it down again. But every time I see an A, I'm just putting in a -2. And every time I see a B, I'm putting in a -10. So now I can start using my order of operations. Are there any grouping? Yes, there is right here. This absolute value is a grouping. So I'll do that first. So -2 squared plus -2 minus the absolute value of -4 is just 4 minus -10. Okay, next up, are there any exponents? Yes, there are right here. There's an exponent right there. So I do that next. -2 squared, that just means -2 squared is the same thing as -2 times -2. That's what exponents mean. Do it twice. So negative times a negative is a positive, 2 times 2 is a 4. So negative 2 squared, negative 2 times negative 2 would just be a positive 4. 4 plus negative 2 minus 4 minus negative 10. Okay, we've gone through, there's no more grouping, there's no more exponents. Are there any more multiplication and division? I look through it. Nope, it's all adding and subtracting. So I'm just going to go from left to right. But the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of all these parentheses so I don't get confused. So 4 plus a negative 2 plus a negative, that's just a minus 2, minus 4, and then minus negative 10. Minus a negative is the same thing as a positive, plus 10. And now that they're all the same level, they're all addition and subtraction, I'm going to read from left to right to make sure I get the right answer, just like a book. So 4 minus 2, that would be 2. So 2 minus 4 plus 10. Continuing on, 2 minus 4 would be negative 2 plus 10. Negative 2 plus 10 is going to equal 8. It's about 8. 8. So my final answer is 8. The final problem of this set, again, has variables in it. In this case, we have p is equal to negative 3, and we have q, which is equal to 1. So I'm going to go through and rewrite this equation here, but every time I see a q, I'm going to put in a 1. And every time I see a p, I'm going to put in a negative 3. So plus p, so plus negative 3, plus 7 times the absolute value of negative 3. Okay, and we look for our order of operations. So G, do we have any grouping? Do we have any grouping? And the answer is yes, we do, right here. So I'm going to do that first. 1 minus negative 3 plus negative 3 plus 7 times, what is the absolute value of negative 3? It's just 3. Do I have any exponents? No, I do not. Do I have any multiplication and division? Yeah, I do, right here. That's a multiplication. When two numbers are next to each other in algebra, we can multiply them. So I'm going to do 1 minus negative 3 plus negative 3 plus 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, do I have any more multiplication and division? No, so all that's left is addition and subtraction. So I'm just going to read from left to right, but the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of all these parentheses. So 1 minus negative 3 is the same thing as plus 3. Plus a negative is the same thing as minus. So minus 3 plus 21. Now I just read from left to right. So 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 minus 3 plus 21. 4 minus 3 is 1. 1 plus 21, which would be equal to 22 for our final answer.